It's the Deep Slant 101 presented by Xfinity, and joining me this week, I've never had him on before, it's tight end Pharaoh Brown. Pharaoh, welcome to the Texans. Welcome to the Deep Slant interview. I'm looking forward to getting a chance to know you a little bit better.
Thank you for having me. It's good to be in some sunshine states right now. The winter is always kind of gray, so I'm loving the sun.
Yeah, you were just up in Cleveland, so yeah, I'm sure you do enjoy this weather. Let's start with your name. I like the name Pharaoh. I think that's probably has to have a good story behind it, or does it? What can you tell us about your first name?
So my dad wanted us all to have like royal names, and my mom was reading like a book or watching a movie, and I can't remember what the movie was. I should know, but she was like, she heard it, and she was just like, she wasn't gonna tell nobody the name because like that's always like a fun thing. Like you tell somebody you're gonna name your son this, and they be like, well, I know a guy named this. Then he's a jerk or something. So she she just held it, and then she just named me that, and everybody was just like shocked and just kind of fell in love with it, and that's kind of how I got it.
All right, so do you have siblings that have royal names too?
Yeah, I have like Prince Michael, Benjamin, like Queen Mariah. I think I got like one of the coolest names. I actually named my son Titus, so it's kind of a royal name. So yeah.
That is a great family tradition. All right, so no one's ever going to forget your first name ever. What about you? You came from Cleveland. You signed with the Texans just after week one. The Texans needed a tight end. Kahale Waring went on IR, and you had some experience in the league. So what was it like? I mean, trying out for a new team is always, I imagine, stressful. But with COVID and all the new protocols and precautions in place, what was that whole process like for you?
I kind of been transitioning a lot. This is my third coach actually in a year and a half. Everywhere I've been, I actually haven't had the same coach a consecutive year. So I've had a fourth year, had a coach every year, some two coaches in 2 years. So kind of familiar just like with the coaches, learning offenses. I've been around the game. I just love the sport. So I kind of just study. So when I came here, this was by far one of the more harder offenses to learn. And but I just dove in and just studied, and it's more of just a terminology thing, and Coach Will does a great job coaching us and coaching us up, and it's more of conversation. Like he'll say one thing and I say, what does that mean? What do you mean by that? Then I say, oh, that's that. And he's like, yeah, that's that. So it's more like just learning the language of what the Texans use. But as far as the concepts, it's a lot of the same around the league. So it's just learning a whole new language. And like I said, Coach Will does a good job. It has gotten me up to speed. And
Yeah, and was it weird because with everything going on with the pandemic, you had to get tested, and just traveling is such a hassle these days, and trying to get around the city when everything is sort of closed but sort of not. What was that like?
It was kind of weird. I mean, first coming in, I was just like in the hotel for a week, and then you had to have like a tryout, but you can't like, you just sit in the hotel and eat 3 meals a day, then feel like you just feel big, and you got to go run around like 3 days
Now
later.
I got to do a workout. Yeah.
Yeah, I got to do a workout. So I was like, all right, can I go? I'm like trying to work out in the hotel room and stuff, break a sweat. So that was fun. But I mean, I think it's kind of just it's just been an ongoing process. Like even now with the Titans, we've come in today and got a whole new set of protocols that we have to abide by. So, I mean, it sucks. I mean, let's put it. I mean, it sucks for everybody. Everybody hate this. I mean, you're at home having to watch it, but it's just like you have to embrace it, and just roll with the punches, honestly, because you still got to go out there and play, and we're trying to win games. So you just got to roll with the punches and adapt. I think that brings out the best in everyone.
Yeah, I read somewhere that's the opponent that everybody's facing this year is COVID, trying to just get past COVID through through the season. What you had a brand new coach in Will Lawing, you mentioned him, but then you also have some familiarity with this offense in Darren Fells. You guys had some time together in Cleveland. So what was it like reuniting with him? How well did you know him up in Cleveland? I know you said you bounced around a lot, but how much of a help was it to come here and see a familiar face in him?
So we was there for a full year together. Darren's a great veteran that's been around a lot of different programs as well, and good guy to gain some knowledge from on the field and off the field. So if I ever have a question, I know I can ask Darren, and he'll yell out to me what I got or something. So I think we got a cool tight end room.
Yeah, and
Even though we
you and
can't
Darren
meet with
both
each
have a
other.
little bit of a history with basketball. We've talked to Darren lots of times about playing European basketball, but I read somewhere that you were kind of a basketball standout yourself in high school. How did you decide to go the football route instead of basketball?
One of the coaches actually came to me told me that I was average in basketball, as in like
Oh,
not my ability, but as in like my height and weight. He was like, you're 6'6". These NBA guys are 6'8", 6'10". In football, you're kind of like he told me, it's like, you'll go to the league just off your height, so the money sounded kind of good, but looking back, I mean, I probably should have stuck with the basketball.
well, it's a lot
uh,
fewer games, but yeah, I mean,
yeah, but yeah, I actually play. We talked about it the other day. Our tight end room, we kind of like our starting five, probably up against anybody's.
you guys do have a really good starting five. You guys are all very athletic in multiple sports in that tight
Yeah.
end group. All right. So before you got to Houston, before you got to Texas, how much did you know about the city? How much did you know about Texas? Had you ever been here? Do you have any ties to the state?
Uh, Two of my uncles actually live down here. I trained down here for like 3 months,
You did.
two summers ago. So I kind of been down here, and it was kind of familiar. Uh, I'm still learning about it. A lady gave me a whole spiel when I was picking out furniture about I don't want to get it wrong. They might talk about me. Is it the Cowboy Day? I don't know what it's called. They say it's a big deal around here.
Oh yeah, go Texan Day.
No, is that when they do all the stuff here? It's like a big. They say they sell cows and they got the the derby or the
Oh, the
hookaboo.
rodeo.
The rodeo, yeah.
We may not, I mean, I don't know if there'll be a rodeo this next year, but
Oh
if there
yeah.
is, hopefully you're around to see it because yeah, that's
Well, this lady
definitely
gave me a whole spiel
a
how the rodeo
spectacle.
wasn't
Yeah.
canceled and that they
Largest
be
rodeo in
having
the world.
rodeo and stuff. She said it's a
Well,
big thing around
well,
here.
you know you're a Texan when you actually buy the boots and the hat. So once you get that, then you're totally a Texan.
I know. I think I'm gonna go find me someone wear to a game.
Well, I want to ask you about your college days because
Hmm.
in just reading about you and learning about you, the one thing that really stood out was the fact that you had just a really serious injury in college that you overcame. And that's
Yeah.
allowed you to keep playing football. And it's not just any injury, it was threatening not only your football career, but also there was a chance that you might actually have your leg amputated. Is that correct? Can you tell me what about your injury and for people that don't know about it?
Yeah. I actually. Well, at first when it happened, we thought it was just ACL, LCL, like your standard kind of knee dislocation. Uh, but then we was at Utah, and I was just like in a lot of pain, caught like a full body cramp on the ambulance. So it was it was a, it was a one of those kind of shows. So they instead of going back with the team, they was like, well, we'll just send them to the hospital, get them on some pain tolerance, and they kind of gave me some IVs. I was still in pain, and they started like shooting dye. Basically, I wasn't getting leg. So when they were shooting the dye, basically like they couldn't see it when it got to my knee, and so I wasn't getting no blood from the leg down. So that was like first kind of scene. So the doctors came in, was like, yeah, we got to see you in the surgery. And I was like, well, oh, funny thing, my uncles was there from Houston. They
Oh,
flew out. Yes, it was actually in the
okay.
room. Yeah. So I'm like, well, I'm not giving y'all not doing surgery on me. I don't know you doctors. Like I'm with the Utah doctors, and they like, well, we
Right.
got to do surgery. And I'm like, well, I'm not doing surgery. They told me everybody else from Oregon flew back. So I was like, well, they say that y'all just supposed to give me medicine. So the guy was like, okay, well, he sent in the doctor was like, well, you won't play football again if you don't get this surgery right now. We'll have to cut off your leg. So then I was like, okay, well, give me the surgery.
I'll,
And
I guess I'll guess I'll get the surgery done.
yeah, so I was like, I guess I had a surgery. That's okay.
Okay. So the
I didn't know it
surgery
was that
saved your
serious.
leg, essentially, the fact that you were able to get it
So
done.
the surgery, they basically did a vein bypass because I had slit my artery.
Mm.
And when I slit the artery, it messed up the vein, basically the floor of the veins. So they basically bypassed, stitched it up, and that was a surgery that basically I had to wait 30 days. So it was kind of like a 30-day wait to see if the blood will actually restore, and that it's kind of hard to explain. So basically, I waited 30 days to see if the vein bypass that they did would basically flow, kind of like a
Get the
maze.
blood flowing back again through your
Get the
leg.
blood
I
flowing
got you.
back through that way. So uh
Obviously it did because you're playing football, but how long were you out of football? I would imagine you'd be pretty worried that you're not going to be able to play again.
So if it was November, I had that. I had another surgery after that 30 days, and I had to have another surgery. So I had 3 surgeries in total. And then I did about, I redshirted, so I did about 19 months of rehab. And I think the people at Oregon was fabulous. The people at the Cleveland Clinic was fabulous. My mom, my fiance now, who I was with back then, was fabulous. And just, they kind of kept I honestly didn't know telling the story now, you know the seriousness of it, but when it happened, I never knew the seriousness of it. Like, other than the doctor saying, I got to get this surgery, my leg get cut off, I thought I was good after I got the surgery. I didn't know that I was, them 30 days waiting, I didn't know that I was waiting. I thought I was fine. Like, my parents and everybody else knew the severity of it, but they wouldn't tell me, basically. So, I mean, I was just chilling. They just like, oh, you just got to get another surgery 30 days later. They didn't tell me then that I was like, basically like the 30 days, I might have had to get my leg chopped off. Like, if it didn't work, I didn't know that until after it worked. You know what I mean? So
you had a great attitude because everyone just kept very scary information from you, which is, I don't fault your family at all for doing that. But now that you know that's how serious it was, I imagine you just have a different appreciation for playing that, you wouldn't have had you not
I'm
gone through all
definitely grateful for the game. And honestly, it was just like another challenge. And I love challenges. I love the competitiveness. I love people saying that you can't do something. Even with the injury, it's like, oh, you're not going to be able to play. You're not going to be able to do this. And, I mean, I just love overcoming those obstacles. And it was just another challenge, honestly. And it was just fun because we basically, this telling the story kind of gave me chills.
Me too.
When we started the rehab, there was no rehab for it. Like, when you get an ACL, it's like, okay, this is what you do for an ACL. This is what you do for a shoulder. Like, with mine, we didn't know. Like, Zach Miller kind of had the same injury. He called me and we kind of talked. It wasn't a playbook for this rehab. So it was just like literally like day to day. Like, we'd come in and we kind of like wrote the story on how to recover from it because you've never seen it. So, I mean, that was fun. I actually live in Salt Lake now, and I went there this summer because obviously with the COVID stuff and with everything going on, I went to that physical therapy this off season because we was basically kind of didn't have an off season. Mm-hmm. And the doctor was like, "You're Pharaoh Brown," and it's like, "Dude, you're like a superstar out here." Like,
they still talk about your case.
Oh man, everybody knew it. I walked into like the Utah hospital. Everybody knew me. Like, this is the guy. Like, we just heard about you.
That gives me chills, but that's really scary too. That you were kind of the cutting edge for them on an injury that they had not seen before.
So they use it like a big case study there with like the doctors. So like the jazz doctors knew me. It was like kind of weird, but kind of funny.
Do they have a name for what it was that you had? There's no name for it. It's just the Pharaoh Brown injury. All right. So what about now? Here you are, because you've overcome all that and so much in your career. And now you're here with the Houston Texans. And it seems to be good timing as far as the tight ends are concerned, because Kahale Waring, obviously, he's not ready to be back yet. And then we saw what happened with Jordan Akins getting the hit in the game. And you've gotten to get into some games here starting with week 3. But for fans that don't really know you or don't know much about what you bring to the game, what do you bring to the game? What do you think that you offer that tight ends group?
I think I bring just a lot of energy. I mean, I kind of just can do it all. When I was at Oregon, I was using special teams. My coach was a special team coach, and you couldn't start for him at tight end if you didn't play special teams. So I can play on special teams. I was used as a blocker, pass catching at Oregon. So I think I'm just a guy that kind of can do it all, block, give you some stuff in the pass game, athletic, can run after the catch, can block. I think now it's just kind of the coaches getting used to me now. So just seeing my role growing week to week. The run game has been, we haven't got to the point where we want to be in a run game. So that's kind of been a thing that we need to get off the ground. So I've been using the block, and hopefully in these weeks leading up, I can get my hands on a few balls and show the coaches that I can do that. You know what I mean? So you just kind of start seeing your role stack and stack. Went in on special teams and started on 3 of them this past week, and by the time the game was over, I was on all 5 special teams. So filled in pretty good there. Got me a nice easy tackle on kickoff. So just filling in. Just got to be a pro. Honestly, you never know. I mean, we're on record pace right now, just as a whole league with injury. So I mean, you see guys dropping, all the time. I mean, usually it's a big part of the game, but like this year is just astronomical numbers. So, I mean, you just got to be ready and be a pro and be able to step up. I mean, that's just always the name of the game every year is just step up, be the next man. So,
well, yeah, we're looking forward to seeing more of you as the season goes on, because we've seen as you gotten here every single week, we see a little bit more of you as you get used to the offense and get to know your teammates a little bit better. And we enjoy getting to know you as well, Pharaoh. So pleasure getting to know you. Best of luck through the rest of the season. And man, what a story. I guess congratulations for overcoming that. But yeah, I'm a little scared that when you go to your Utah doctors, they still talk about your case.
It's pretty funny.
Well, thanks so much, Pharaoh. And
thank you. Nice meeting you.
Best of luck. Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to know when we post new content.